Hey everyone, and welcome to the K0LWC Hamshack. Today we're talking about Hamshack Hotline. What is it and why might you want to get one? Okay, so maybe your first question is, what is Hamshack Hotline? Well, it's a dedicated VoIP or Voice over Internet Protocol service exclusively for ham radio operators around the world. Now, if you sit at a desk all day at a job, you probably have a VoIP phone sitting on your desk. It probably looks like this one right here. Now, K1WIZ had always dreamed about, what if we just had a VoIP phone service just for ham radio? Well, he made that a reality with Hamshack Hotline. The costs to get into Hamshack Hotline are very, very minimal. It all depends on your budget. They have phones that are compatible for as cheap as $25 you can find around the internet, or you can spend, like I did on this, as much as $100 for one of the more top-end phones with more features and a sidecar. Now, I can already feel the purists, the pure ham radio operators out there already glaring in my face as I talk about this. And they're wondering, why would I want to have a VoIP phone in my Hamshack? Well, let's talk about that. You know, I have one here, and let's be honest, it just looks frickin' cool, okay? It just is. There are definitely better use cases than just having one in your Hamshack, but I still think it's valuable if you want to learn about and experiment with VoIP technology. Because the truth is, these phones are essentially little microcomputers, and we see just how much we're now using Raspberry Pi 3s and other microcomputers in ham radio with the advent of digital and DMR. This is just another technical tool that you can learn about in terms of something that carries voice or data traffic. So if you're really into the digital modes, YSF, DMR, D-Star, this might be another thing for you to experiment with. If any of you out there are old Echolink guys, this I guess is like the new advent of Echolink. And in fact, there's actually some really cool projects going on with Hamshack Hotline where they're bridging from Hamshack Hotline to RF. I believe it's line or bridge 94,000 on Hamshack Hotline actually bridges over into the Brandmeister DMR network. How cool is that? So let's take a look at the hardware here. This is the phone that I got. This is a Cisco SPA 525G, as in George. This is the phone that I got. Again, it cost me about $70 for the phone. And you know what? I think actually prices are going to be getting a lot cheaper here in the next 6 to 12 months as offices close up shop. More people are now working from home thanks to COVID, and there's going to be a ton of this kind of surplus stuff on the market. So I'd be willing to bet that even the prices on these will be coming down. Now, this is not all I got as well. I also picked up a sidecar. Now, a sidecar is just as it looks. Basically, it allows me more extensions and bridges that I can program. And this is just a piece of paper here underneath a sheet of plastic. That way I can monitor and see what's going on across different telephone lines or looking at what's going on public bridges. Okay, so what is the real main purpose or the real main value to Hamshack Hotline? Well, I think it boils down simply to people that are into MCOM Aries races. Having these in your command post, having these in your JIC, in your EOC. This is a fantastic free service, by the way, completely free. Outside of your startup cost to buy the phone, they do not charge you a monthly or a yearly fee. It is completely free of service. That is fantastic in terms of what they provide for the ham community. So if you have a JIC, an EOC, you can have your members have telephones at their homes. You can have private bridges, private lines, just for you guys in your area. So having a backup way of communicating if conditions change, you cannot make contact over RF, or you don't want to carry some traffic over RF. You'd rather have a dedicated, private, reliable backup. And now again, I feel the purists looking at me. Reliable. Well, yes, it does rely on the internet. Of course it does. I'm not talking about the end of the world here. I'm talking about local disaster response. That's where the true power, I think, of Hamshack Hotline comes in. Yes, it's fun to play with. It's another experimentation area for us ham radio operators, but the true value is, I think, really those folks that are volunteering in their community to provide some kind of service, because having a dedicated phone system that doesn't cost you a thing is a huge, huge benefit. Plus, for the purists out there, I know that there's a lot of people that are going to say, well, I can just put a battery and make an antenna and I can communicate whatever I want using my skills. In my opinion, it doesn't matter that it doesn't have an antenna, that it's not RF. This is just another way to communicate. And for me, only my opinion, disclaimer, only my opinion, ham radio really is about learning technical skills of all different varieties of how to communicate and get a message from point A to point B. Whether it's building an antenna, using a solar array, going portable, using RF to accomplish that, or some more of the new technology we have at our disposal today. But let's take a closer look at the hardware and see what it looks like. So again, this is the Cisco SPA 525G, and this is one of the more higher end phones they support on Hamshack Hotline. I did get the extra sidecar. What you're going to see in a second is what this sidecar allows is, if you don't get this, you only have 5 lines that you can program in for people you want to fast dial. This gives you a ton of options, and what's really neat is you can actually monitor what's going on with your friend's line or a public bridge, because these will turn green when they're not being used. It means they're available, right? Nothing's going on. But if someone goes into one of these bridges, these lights actually turn to red, and you know that someone's in there and actively talking. So it's a nice visual to kind of keep an eye on what's going on the network. But let's go ahead and plug it in. It does use PoE, power over Ethernet. If you want to use wireless, this phone particularly does support wireless. However, you would need a power brick to make it work. I use Ethernet here in the shack, so it's pretty easy for me just to go and use the PoE for this. It just makes it real nice and slick and easy, and you can see the switch there in the background. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in my sidecar. Then I'm now going to plug in here the Ethernet cord to the back of the phone, and then we will let it boot up. There we go. All right, so we'll give this just about 30 seconds to boot up, and then we'll do some demos and check this phone out. All right, now we're all booted up. Let's take a closer look and see what we got. Check out that cool screen, Hamshack Hotline, with a cool globe on it. That's a pretty neat little screen. You can see my call sign there in the upper right corner. And my extension is the first line there, 5640. Now, everything else below that I've programmed in myself. I have Dan, I have Don, I have Dan, I have David. All Ds. I don't know how that happened. So again, if you only get the phone, which will work just fine independent of the sidecar, you only get 5 slots. However, I got the sidecar, and as you can see, I have all these public bridges that are currently active. And now, someone else is sitting in severe weather right now. That's why it's lit up red. If it's green, that means they're all empty and no one's currently in there. But let me show you how a public bridge might work. Let's go ahead and go into Minnesota DMR, and let's just click into that one. So I'm going to go ahead and click on speaker and click on Minnesota DMR.
Please enter the conference PIN number.
Now this is where it's going to ask you for a PIN number. Now the reason why I want to show this is that this is where if you have Aries, racies, that kind of stuff, or you want to make it private just for a certain group of people, this is what makes it super great, is they will allow you to have a PIN number. That way not just anybody can come into your bridge. But now check out this one, severe weather. This is my bridge. It's public. There is no PIN. Let's go ahead and check into that one.
After the tone, say your name and then press the pound key.
K0LWC.
Thank you. There is currently one other participant in the conference.
Hello? Who's in here? All right, I guess they don't want to talk. Someone just hanging out and obviously is not in their shack, but it is lit up red. Now, what if you're not on your ham shack? You might ask that question. You can actually set up a service where you can have an app on your phone that when your phone rings here, it'll actually ring your cell phone as well. So you don't have to necessarily be always in your shack. Now, for myself, that really doesn't intrigue me, interest me. I don't need to be that connected. But again, if you're going for MCOM, Aries, racies, that might actually be a useful application for you, but not so much for me. Now also, we have a directory here. I don't have much in my directory because I pretty much have everything I need with the sidecar and the buttons here. You'll see I have Dan and I have Don 5636, 5637 in here, and you can add as many people into your address book as you would like. You can change how the phone rings, you can change how loud it is, you can change the screen up here, all different kinds of stuff to customize the way you want it to be. Now, you may be wondering, well, can I make calls to like outside phones like my neighbor and just regular phone calls? No, not on the hotline the way it sits. You can pay and do some extra stuff to get those features that you have to pay for from an outside third party. But no, Hamshack Hotline is only about dialing extensions for other ham radio operators that are on the network just like you. You also can add E911 service to your phone if you want to be able to dial 911 from it. But again, it's an extra thing that you need to set up. It's not out of the box just for anybody that has Hamshack Hotline. So that's the general overview of the phone. I think it's freaking cool, especially once I get all these other ones programmed up and lit up. It's like a bat phone in your shack, people. I mean, it's just cool looking. It's kind of handy. It's fun to experiment with, but if you're somehow in public service or doing MCOM stuff, this could be a really, really great solution for your group, and I highly recommend you check it out. I'll have more information down in the description below, so check down below in the description for that information. If you haven't, subscribe, hit that like button. If you have a question, drop me a comment down below. I'll catch you again next time.